Uh, Last video I want to see today is Ashes of Creations 2023. Teasers are worrying but also exciting. Possible Narc video then? It could be like Lazy Peon as well. I know he's really into it. I am as well. I'm not gonna lie. Like a lot of things with Ashes of Creation, like I'm gonna try it almost no matter what. But it does some of the systems. I'm just like I don't know if this is gonna be a game that I'm actually gonna really enjoy, or gonna run into frustrating things like experiences.
All right, let's watch this. This is a new video about Narc. It's about Ashes of Creation.
I called it.
Here we go. So obviously they've got a few teasers for the end of the year live stream, and we're gonna take a look at this right now. Okay. Here we go.
Hey, what up, boys? So it's that time of the month again where I clickbait you all out the wazoo with an arbitrary video about literal thin air. Huh? What do you mean every single one of my videos are exactly this? Actually, the video where I break down the live stream is the only video where I have content, so that's technically incorrect. This month, we're in for a bit of a surprise because it seems we're actually in for a bit of a chill stream due to the teasers and hints given to us in Discord, of which I will be relaying to you today. But before we get into that, our patrons and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola because it seems we've been robbed of our end-of-year mind-blowing stream, and that's okay. I'm not sad or angry or upset or worried or anxious or concerned or distressed or losing faith for the project. It's okay.
I mean, didn't they release the content with like the Archer not too long ago? Like I feel like it makes sense that they're not releasing more right now.
Full stream every so often, and
I think that things that survive off a hype like this are always like the reason why hype can be bad for games is because sometimes people's expectations become greater than what the game ever could be.
Yeah, but at the same, like I mean, he said, what was it? Elden Ring. Like, honestly, people had crazy expectations on that one, and yet they hit everything and then some. So,
I think that's what the issue is. Is that like people expect every single monthly update to be as breathtaking as the
Archer.
seasons update or the gathering update or the combat update with the Archer. Like not every single one is going to be like that. It's just
no, that makes complete sense.
That's just the truth. You're not going to knock it out of the park every single time. That's not the way that game development or anything development for anything goes.
Yeah, because it's also a case where it's like a lot of the development is boring stuff. Let's be fair, or spoilery. Maybe they're doing questing, working on the story itself, where they can't really show that kind of stuff. So
it's up and down, right?
like they can show you combat and gathering because it doesn't matter.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's discuss this today in less than 10 minutes. Editing Narc here. It seems I failed again. I just can't seem to keep these videos less than 10 minutes. My thin air just...
What is going on behind him? Like,
The anime thing.
I mean, really, like, what is this? Hold up, yeah, what is... Oh my god.
appears to be too content dense. Sorry about that. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way,
he's a weed.
let us begin. Shall we?
Oh my god.
Okay.
So maybe he's thinking that, you know what, maybe this whole Ashes of Creation thing, the ceiling on this thing is just way too low. I think we've really got to expand our horizons.
And get
so
the Genshin
now
players.
He's like testing the waters to see if he can farm weebs. He's like, okay, you know what? Let's see how far we can get this.
So right out the gate, let's just go straight.
Yeah, it's because, like, I mean, really, there's a new weeb game that comes out like every week. Ashes of Creation won't be out for 7 more years. So I mean, he's got to have something to do in the meantime.
Yeah,
Out there and
true.
reveal all all the Discord messages at once, so you can be overwhelmed with disappointment, post a comment about how the game's never releasing, and then go back to huffing the copium and preaching your MMO will finally be fixed in the next patch. Don't worry guys, they're finally listening this time, I swear. Okay, now everyone got that out of their system, let's discuss this upcoming stream and see if we can set some expectations going into it. As per the teaser this month, they told us we will be having a discussion with the devs and meeting a few of the team over at Intrepid. This sparked interest for the highly anticipated studio tour.
That's pretty
However,
cool.
they
Little Dust
further
Devil.
confirmed on Discord that this is not going to be the studio tour. It is merely a glimpse at the studio in the background whilst we talk to these devs. This did continue much discussion and excitement for certain dates and announcements to be revealed. However, they further clarified that they don't have any plans for major announcements this month. As much as we're excited for it, the Alpha 2 date is...
I hope that I hope that Ashes of Creation doesn't end up it doesn't end up falling into the trap of people that are so excited about it that they create fan fiction for the outcome of the game that it could never live up to. I feel like the only time that a game just got absolutely
No Man's Sky.
hyped out of this fucking world, and
But also, that's also because the developer kept promising and promising and promising things that were just like unrealistic for an indie company to achieve. Even in like AAA would have been hard pressed to achieve the things that that guy was promising. So, I mean, let me think like other than that though, what games really fell for that? I think ESO a bit. Wildstar. What else? What else? What else? Let me see what he says. I can't think of anything else.
it lived up to the hype was Elden Ring.
Oh, what lived up to it? Yeah, definitely.
Like, that was the only time that's like ever happened.
likely not coming, which is indeed disappointing. I agree. Christmas...
I think a lot of Final Fantasy fans, like that's usually the case. At least with me personally, like I've not been disappointed in a Final Fantasy game other than like maybe the Lightning one. It's not that I was disappointed with the game itself. I just didn't like particular characters.
would have been the perfect time
Kind of
to
killed the
announce it,
game for
but
me.
as they've said in the past, to avoid the delay situation they had last time with Alpha 1, they will not be giving us a date until it is 100% ready. And
That's
that
smart.
is the correct thing to do.
Yeah.
If you want further information on dates and a timeline for this MMO's future development, I highly recommend you watch the last video, as it not only has a banger of an intro, but it also
hope you-
highlights a lot of important information about this open development Intrepid are focused on. Ideally, this end-of-year live stream would be...
I do think that they should be pretty measured with how much they let people play the game. Because
Exactly.
it will kind of hurt the hype of the game if people are playing it out in the alpha and in the beta so much that the actual release of the game isn't very impactful at all, because people have been functionally playing it for like 8 or 10 months or a year at that time.
rivaling last year's insane Unreal Engine
That's why most demos, like they give you like a very limited access to the game.
5 reveal.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was a
such
big
a
one.
monumentous change for the game that completely shook up the genre. Sadly, I'm not sure anything can really rival it though. Well, except
It's like a good example is like Classic WoW did a really good job at this, because they only let you play the game until level 30 or like 40 for a while. And then after that, they took it down and they're like, okay, you can't play the beta anymore. You've got to wait for the real game. That was a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
maybe some awesome dungeon gameplay with a world boss, or maybe the ocean content reveal, or maybe the nodes free video, even a freehold and housing reveal. Oh, the crafting showcase would have been pretty poggers, or maybe the
Yeah.
much anticipated PvP caravan gameplay, or I don't know, literally
Was that
anything but a
see-through?
random talk with some devs and zero gameplay. So then, what on earth can we expect? Isn't this a massive disappointment for the supposed end-of-year banger that I've been going on about? Well, yes, I agree. It is indeed not quite what we expected, but as your copium dealer, it is my duty to give you some silver lining for what we can be excited for, because I have a...
I think that, like, if you want to look at it in a positive way, you can say this. Basically, it's more important for them to develop the game in an organic way and not just try to overdevelop certain parts of the game so they can release it for the community
showcases.
for hype.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a good thing that they're focusing on actually developing the game in like
And another thing is that they are still willing to talk to the community when they don't really have much to show. Shows that they actually care about the communication versus just showing off their game.
a way that is foundational that can grow rather than trying to create some like weird demo that can get people excited for it.
Yeah.
Sneaky suspicion it's going to mimic the hype we received from another recent livestream that also had zero gameplay. So let's discuss that next. 2022 has been absolutely incredible for this game's development, and almost every single stream this year has revealed some major new system that's finally in a presentable state.
I mean, what they could do is just have like the same combat, and just maybe have another player gathering next to them, just to kind of show off what they've already shown off, but like in different, maybe in a different environment or something.
Or a major step in development involving mechanics.
A different environment than what they originally showed.
Or design. However, dotted throughout the year,
or maybe a different enemy.
2 or 3 slightly less hype live streams that did shake the faith.
That looks really nice.
In January, we got mostly just some
Not
race
so nice.
reveals that weren't too.
I don't think that you can realistically expect every single release to be super hype. It's just not realistic to do that.
Special and zero gameplay. February, we got a whole live stream discussing fucking mounts, which wasn't too bad considering the content, as it was basically a deep dive
into the
animal husbandry system. A system a lot of people are actually excited about. March, though, was when it started to ramp up a little with the first look at their character creator. However, this again...
Yeah, I think the character creator was probably one of the most interesting ones, and probably one of the best ones, because the way that they were talking about the character creator and how it looked and like what the custom.
Yeah, it definitely gave me like BDO vibes, but the fact that you can also have that kind of level of customization on like the races that aren't just human was actually really cool.
Customization options were, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
like the character creator, even at the like pre-alpha level, seems like it's going to have a better foundation than pretty much any other MMO. Like, I can't see this being worse than Lost Ark. The only game that it might be worse than is Black Desert Online.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
But BDO is like the staple of like the absolute best.
That's it. And even then, this game has a completely different style, so it's hard to compare like which one is better.
Yeah.
Again, isn't exactly gameplay, and April was probably the worst stream of the year, revealing their event system with zero gameplay again, which evidently ended up being some foreshadowing for Intrepid to pull out their big guns. From May all the way to last livestream, we received banger after banger with incredible gameplay showcases of various systems and mechanics that are going
I don't think I saw that video with that rogue
process in Alpha 2. Every single month was jam-packed with actual gameplay showing off the game and progress, all except one. August was, in my opinion, by far one of the best, most information-packed live streams Ashes of Creation has ever done. And that's for more reasons than me just being able to monetize.
Yeah, that's the one where they announced they were making the map way bigger and everything like that.
Yep.
Bunch of drama videos, I swear guys. It revealed a shed load of new information about the direction of the game, revealed some new information about how certain PvP zones will function with a node ruins area and the ocean. They went into details on how the node manager works and the way the caravans function on a systems level, all whilst revealing a brand new world map and tripling the original size of the world as a whole to accommodate
a lot of people were excited to hear that.
Practical scenario. It's not script creep. God damn it, it's not. I was extremely pleased with what they revealed in August, and
I don't think every reveal has to be gameplay. And I think the truth is, like, some of the gameplay, the problem is that the moment that you show gameplay, if the gameplay is not S tier, people's excitement for the game goes to 0. Even if it's not ready, even if...
I don't think it has to be S tier, but if it's not at least A tier, B tier, then immediately just like, man, that looks like trash.
You say it's alpha, even if it says not prepared, even if it says this is not indicative of the final product, if people see gameplay and the game
Yeah, if it doesn't look good, don't show it.
play doesn't look good, then they're gonna think the game sucks. That's all there is
Yep.
to it, because people that's how people develop impressions of video games. Like, whether
First
you get it wrong or
impressions
not,
are a
it's
thing.
not gonna change. That's just the facts.
For a reason.
All this came with absolutely zero gameplay to back it
Yeah.
up. Not a single complaint was filed that month. Trust me, as the gatekeeper of this game, I'd know. And I'm confident our little chat with the devs this month will give us the same kind of vibes as that one. I think this month's livestream is going to be an absolute information overload about the game's systems, progress, and direction, discussing in depth about certain parts of the game with the very devs that are designing them.
Even if it's not, like, you know, they're gonna go into like more detail possibly on like things already announced, like the gathering system, the node system, questing, whatever it may be. Like, even if they go more in depth in terms of how that stuff is gonna work, that's still, like, to me at least, it's equivalent to like a gameplay thing. Like, you're learning more about the game, which is always good.
But
I think the systems are important to talk about, but what's more important to talking about the systems is getting players' hands on them and actually seeing how they evolve with people interacting with the systems in real time.
Yeah, but we're probably not going to see that anytime soon, to be fair. It's also going to be hard for them to kind of show that, because from what I understand with this game, they're really going to be focused on like the player base making decisions for the game, like affecting the game.
I think that's really what the issue is. Like, that has to happen.
we'll conclude today's video not by hyping up this particular aspect with literal thin air. I'm going to talk about what
Oh, I thought this video included like the live stream. Well, that's kind of disappointing.
I personally hope we get discussions on, because they are the systems I'm most personally excited about. First of all, the goddamn oceans are one of the most exciting parts of this game for me. Not only is the ocean practical for many reasons like PvP, trading and travel, but I am a massive One Piece fanboy, and ever since I first experienced an ocean in an MMORPG like Black Desert Online, I've been
Arcade
searching
had
for
that
a game to really play that pirate fantasy. Sea of Thieves is obviously the best one out there right now. However, it's not set in a massively multiplayer world with
I'm not really excited about the ocean, I'll be honest. Like, that was super boring in Sea of Thieves. Like, I played it for, like, I don't know, 2 hours, and I was just like, okay, I'm done.
progression and exploration like an
I mean, probably because they didn't really have much around it. So I don't know. Like, I haven't played Black Desert. Well, I played a little, but like, I found out early on, like, your stuff, like, can break or something like that, or maybe I lost, like, something. Like, I forget what happened, but I was upgrading something, and I just felt like I just wasted all my time, so I just stopped playing.
MMO offers. When I did my playthrough of Arcade earlier this year, the ocean content, boat progression, and sea mechanics absolutely blew my mind for what's possible in an MMO.
This is
and
so cool.
Arcade is absolutely the gold standard for ocean content. It's
And like, look at that. That's the gold standard. Bro, that's the brown standard. This is
I was gonna say, it looks like shit. Just the looks of it. I'm not like graphics wise, like whatever, but like just what we saw, like it didn't even look that cool.
awful. Look at the gameplay. It's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard for them to be able to improve on this.
experiencing their oceans that made me so excited for Ashes of Creation, because I genuinely think if they can capture the same feeling as Arcade did with the
Oh, that's gotta
PvP
suck.
and the PvE mechanics, I think I will probably end up spending most of my time trading on the open seas, and I'm very content with this as a main gameplay loop. But
Yeah.
enough fanboying about that. I personally think this is a tall order and would rather have actual gameplay to accommodate the information about this, so instead, I think an in-depth discussion about the class and combat design
That was pretty cool how he jumped from one boat to the other.
would be a very well received one, going in depth about the weapon progression, the actual weapons themselves, because we still don't have a full list of them, class progression, and how the augment system will work will unfog a lot of
Oh, damn.
confusing parts about Intrepid's design.
I think for me, the weapon system doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is seeing how everything fits together. Because, like, if there's a weapon system, like, how do the bosses work? Do the bosses have immunities to certain types of weapons or certain types of spells? Are you
Yeah.
able to like? Is it
Like the system as a whole is going to be what kind of decides how, if it's good or not. It's like how they're interacting in the actual gameplay.
like Dark Souls, for example, where certain NPCs are more vulnerable or resistant to different types of like magic effects or physical? Or is it something like in New World, for example, where you have things that are more vulnerable but nothing that's less vulnerable anymore? Like, for example, in Expeditions. Or is it something like
Yeah.
Classic WoW, where if you cast Fireball on Ragnaros, he doesn't take any damage. But if you do that on Ragnaros and Firewinds, he takes full damage. So like what's the line here that we're drawing, and how does it fit together? How do you upgrade
I didn't
these
even
items?
know that.
Is it something that you can realistically have 5 of the same thing of, that you can kind of progress linearly at the same time? And like these are the things
Yeah, it's also gonna, it might gatekeep some things where it's like if your class or weapon that of your choice isn't as effective on a boss, or people are not gonna want you in their group.
that are important. And it's not just the weapon system, it's knowing how all of the systems fit together. And I think that's what's so hard about making an MMO. And it's what's so hard about making something like WoW, too. I mean, like, well, WoW is an MMO, but, like, it's been a challenge with Blizzard. Is like, how do you fit a game that has Mythic Plus, solo play, raids, arenas, battlegrounds, and just, like, casual play in general? How do you put all of those things together and have a cohesive game that fits all 6 of those play styles? It's, like, impossible.
I don't think so. I think if you invest in more playtesters who are focused, like, okay, you're gonna be focused on this, you're gonna be focused on that, you know, and then you get their feedback, like, okay, how did it feel? Like, as the casual player, how did it feel as the hardcore player? And you just get, basically it's just more testers, just to kind of get the feeling of from the player's perspective.
So that's what really matters, is just like getting these systems out there and seeing how players interact with them.
We still don't know how their
And seeing
supposed
where, like, the choke
64
points
class dream will actually work, and I'm very skeptical about its conclusion.
Well, with the 64 class thing, it can technically work, but the problem is it's going to be the illusion of 64 classes. Like, let me think here. Path of Exile probably has thousands of, like, technically like builds, which is like classes basically. But there's really only like a couple of handfuls of actual like viable good ones. So it's like that illusion of choice. Like if you just try to do your own thing in Path of Exile, yes, you're going to create some unique build just for that's yours, but more than likely it's going to be trash that you're going to just get killed over and over.
Finally, I think following that up with an economy-based design discussion would also be a very highly received one. It's no secret that a sandbox MMO functions slightly different to your average theme park, and in a sandbox, your power tends to come from how much money you have, and having a lot of diverse ways to make money through various fun and interesting systems
like
is the key to making sandbox games so much fun, especially MMORPGs. We haven't
Pretty
even begun
much.
to talk about spot test
Or the multi-boxing. I have a feeling Ashes is going to run into that issue.
Teases for what's to come in the next few months, and of course, the mandatory reflection on 2022 meme that will undoubtedly take up a large portion of the live stream. And
that is cool with the environment, how it changes like that. That's really, really cool.
Which leads me on to my question for you.
Oh, dang it, it affects the monsters. I didn't even realize that.
Do you want to hear about
That's insane.
in this live stream?
I want to hear about the end game progression systems. I hit 60, I hit 100, I hit 50, I hit 80, whatever the max level is. Now what? What do I do to get better gear? How long can I keep getting better gear? Why don't I just go to the very end of that progression loop at the very end of it as soon as I start and just get the best gear? Why do I have to go step by step? It's like, because if it's an outdoor content, like, why am I not able to bring 150 people to kill something that's designed for 40? Do you see kind of what I'm saying? Because, like, you've got to assume that there's probably going to be a point where the scaling for bosses the amount of people that exist in the area will outscale the boss's difficulty. So how do you have outdoor dungeons and a progression cycle without creating things that are just really gimmicky? Like, for example,
Yeah, because you're going to run into situations that New World did, where you just get these mega hordes that just go in there and just literally steamroll an entire area. Um, or maybe they don't even kill things; they just everyone's running to go get the loot because they're chest, you know, uh, chest runs. So it's like, but imagine if you got it through killing. It would be the exact situation. You get like 50 plus players all joining the same group, and they would all just steamroll in. Like, it could be fun, but honestly, I can see it being boring pretty quickly, just like the New World runs were. So if everything's open world, like what are going to be the limitations to that, if any? And if none, what about these? You know, there's going to be guilds that are just going to literally spam invites to everyone to try to get as much as people as possible. And then they're like, hey, we're going to go do this to get loot. Everyone come over, which more than likely they will. So
in Valheim, like if you go up to the mountain, you can't go to the mountain unless you make the special cloak that gives you frost resistance, for example. And these types of things are kind of gimmicks. So are we going to have something and like Brimstone Sands is the same thing with New World, is that you can't go to Brimstone Sands unless you drink the tincture, and you can't run into BWL unless
I think it's kind of dumb, but yeah,
unless you get attuned, or same with Nax Ramus or something like that. So how does this work?
I think it makes sense that like if you're gonna do like a raid and you're gonna get like attuned, which should only be once and never again, if they do it. But I don't know. I think it was a little weird they had to do that before being able to go to the new zone. But I mean, it's not bad because it's a one-time thing.
What is the progression system like? What kind of gear can you get? How much better is the gear at an end-game player? Like, let's say I play the game 15 hours a day, I'm in the best guild in the game, and I go up against 3 people that just, are casual players at max level. Can I win? Will I win every time? Will they ever win?
Yeah. Like, to what degree is this power scaling at the max level? I believe is basically what he was asking. It's like in Lost Ark. If PvP was not scaled down, like everyone's balanced, like no lie, like a whale could probably take on like 100 casual Lost Ark players.
How many of them could I kill at the same time theoretically? Like, what is the scope of power difference?
Yep.
See, like, all of these questions are what really matters, in my opinion, because those questions determine how the game is going to retain players.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like WoW, honestly, even with Dragonflight, I think WoW's power scale difference, like in what he's talking about in terms of like a person fresh 70 versus someone who's like in full like arena gear or something like that. Like you're gonna get like 2-shotted. Like it's not even like maybe 1-shotted, honestly. It's that bad. And that's why World PvP and WoW, I mean it's more than what it was, but it's still like really, really bad because it's like, who wants to play that? Like, especially as a fresh 70. It's like, and by the time you get the gear, you're like already over geared for World PvP. So you're just doing it for fun now. I think that's one of the big issues with World PvP and WoW right now, is that your PvP item level isn't affected by your honor gear. It's like whatever gear you have on. Because honor gear only affects your BG and arena. Well, World PvP is just whatever item level you have normally. So it's like, I'm trying to see, like I'm sorry, I'm like kind of tired now, but it's that thing where it just feels unfair. And you can't really have like a system like that. And it feeling unfair is like one of the worst things you can have in any kind of open world PvP. They just don't want to
These
be
will obviously be
participate in it.
curated, pre-planned discussions that are decided before the stream, and they have explicitly stated that they're skipping the Q&A this month for reasons I'm not too sure about. Possibly because they expect the live stream to run overtime, or maybe Intrepid are taking it easy to
I
cap.
mean, I think they've talked about everything that they can talk about. They need to introduce new things.
Also, it is the holiday season, and if they say anything that can be construed as bad, like it's not worth being any kind of bad press during the holidays.
Like, people are just going to keep asking about the same stuff. That's fine.
Like announcements made in like holiday months are taken worse than non-holiday months. I think.
MMOs are too complicated in their purest form. I don't think they're that complicated. Like, for example, when you kill somebody, can you ever get their gear? Let me think of some more of them. Are there sea bosses? Like, for example, if can you build like a giant ship and go out and kill a kraken?
Or can you build an armada, especially with Asmon with his pull on players? Like, if Asmon wants to, could he build basically a navy fleet and just corner off like a section of the ocean? Like, will that be possible?
And if you can go out and kill the kraken, how hard is the kraken? And then if you bring 5 ships instead of 1 ship, is the kraken 5 times easier? Is it half as easy? Is it harder because it scales up with new mechanics and abilities? What happens if people try to bug out the boss with like different types of like mob tagging functionality? What happens if like 5 people are fighting a dragon, and then the dragon's at 5% health, and then the rest of the guild tags it, and then its health increases because there's more characters on the combat table? Do only those 5 people get it? Do less people get it? Like, you see kind of what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things, because I'm the kind of person that exploits games.
Yeah. No, he's 100% right. Like, if you have it, because what he was basically talking about there, if you bring it to 5%, which is like basically your core members, like the best of the best, and then you bring everyone in for the 5%, that 5% is obviously, if they have it where you get boosted, does it regenerate all its health and get the boost, or do you just have to deal with that 5% now with everyone involved? And it's going to be super easy, because even if it's a super hard fight, it's just 5%. Like, if you can't do 5%, then what the heck? Why are you even playing? How'd you even get it to 5%? But yeah, no, I mean, there's the problem with the open world aspect with Ashes creation. It is going to be absolutely teeming with opportunities to exploit pretty much across the board. Like, it's going to be insane.
So
the amount of testing that's going to be needed with this type of game is going to be like World of Warcraft. Yeah, you're going to want some, obviously, testers, but like, you need testers with Ashes of Creations. Like, the game is going to be worse than New World without it.
As soon as the alpha comes up, I will immediately figure out things that you can do that you shouldn't be able to do. Absolutely. And if you don't have that stuff down on lock, it ruins the end game. Because, like, for example, if you're able to just like for example, in Dragonflight, at the very beginning, you were able to buy all of the PvP gear because you could just use like the trophies and then buy the gear and then just sell it immediately on the auction house, because they didn't really plan things out, and there was an oversight. But Blizzard was able to fix this problem, but if they hadn't, it would have just completely killed the end game, because you'd have people in full PvP gear on day one that spent a bunch of money. So it's just so complex and so hard to figure out how to get all these systems to fit together. And also, like, how do you prevent one guild from just not controlling everything on the server?
Yeah, that's what I was saying in terms of like Asmon doing it, but like, yeah, a guild could do it just as easily.
Because, like, this is what happens.
And even if you limit the amount of players in one guild, what they'll do is they'll create the same guild with like maybe numerals at the end. So like Apocalypse 1, Apocalypse 2, Apocalypse 3, and like so forth and so forth. It's just one big guild just divided up.
New World is like a lot of servers in New World have guilds and shell guilds or shell companies, just like real life, that are controlling all of the territories in the entire game. Because these characters, obviously, like these guys they're getting so much passive income through controlling the territories. They're able to buy best in slot gear, gear themselves out farther and higher beyond the other players, and then they just have a passive advantage inside of any combat. And so guess what? They play all the time, they have better gear, and they win. Big surprise. So how do you avoid that situation?
And then ruin the experience of everyone else.
Massive world. How do you create it to where it's not like, 3 months or 4 months down the line into the release of the game and certain nodes are being relatively unused because they're not efficient with like a resource, they're not efficient with like resource acquisition. Like,
New World ran into that because there were some areas that were just way better for mining and like gathering while others weren't, and those felt a lot more empty.
Why do you have people that go to the node for, let's say, like animal husbandry if this has just been determined to be an inefficient node? You have to like patch that out. And I'm telling you guys, oh my God, there's so much to this. Oh my God. I hope you guys, can you guys see what I'm saying? About how like...
Yeah, and he's just scratching the surface of it. That's the biggest issue, is that all that's like everything he's brought up, all completely valid, and still only scratching the surface.
Infinitely complex this is.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so much content. Yeah, things have been tweaked in alpha and beta. Here's a whole video right there. And by the way, like, this is like...
Because you also got to understand the people who are going to play the alpha and beta, a lot of them who are actually good at what, like, say, Asmon's thing, where they're good at finding these kind of exploits, they're going to hold on to that. They're not going to say anything. They're using the alpha and beta to find these things so they can use it when the game actually is released.
Like, so this is all the potential thing.
Like, more than likely, they're going to get an entire guild involved in it so they can absolutely maximize the gains from whatever exploit they find.
Things in the game, and I just talked about this much. Keep that in mind. I didn't even talk
exactly
about PvP,
what I said.
Open world, PvP, crafting, the mare system.
Yeah, and there's like no talk on like, will the earlier levels have any kind of barring against a high level going in there and killing everyone? And what happens when you kill someone? Do you get anything from it? So it's like, are new players going to get farmed by lazy high level players? Like it's crazy the amount of things that like they're going to have to test. Like it's kind of like, it's to the point that I'm just like, I don't know what's going to cost them more in the end, the development of the game or the testing of it.
Different types of solo play, leveling up, getting different mounts, like this.
Yeah, because we were just talking about exploitation. Like, we weren't even talking about the actual fun aspects of the game, like making the game fun, which is also obviously super important and not exactly easy. So otherwise, most games would have it down, but they don't.
Store features, armor, transmog, like weapon abilities, combos, spell immunities. I did talk about that.
Stagger.
Yeah, it's just so much.
CCs, kiting.
But my question remains. I told you what I'm most excited to hear about, but as this is primarily a discussion...
Like, some classes being better at soloing than others. The support system, like classes that, heal and stuff like that, how powerful are they?
Channel, you guys have the floor this time, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say, which is a perfectly scripted transition for me to say, I am just one nerd desperate for a good MMO, and my opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below.
That's my opinion.
Hey, I just want to add on the end here that it's completely unrealistic to expect every single live stream to be a banger with incredible progress being made every single month. It's important to realize stuff we see in the live streams are probably things that have been ready and waiting for ages and just needed some polish for showcases. So if this live stream isn't blowing our mind, then fear not, because I'm pretty sure...
Honestly, them just talking about it will blow people's minds. Maybe like the Diablo 4 dev blogs. Like, that's all you need to do is just talk about the game. People are going to be happy.
Is going to be the year of Ashes of Creation. I mean, at least it's not in the state of Pantheon's pre-alpha, is it? Although, comparing it to literal shite probably isn't a compliment.
But Narc, stop smoking the pot. Alpha 2 isn't going to release in 2023. Just look at the shameful state of this game, it's ridiculous. Y'all should be happy if it releases by 2024, and even then, it'll be a pretty, barely playable farce. Get a grip and touch some grass, goddamn it. Pantheon is the future, not this cosmetic garbage.
That almost sounds like he straight up pulled that from a comment. That's funny. Or maybe multiple comments. I can definitely see why some people would say that, but at the same time, it's like they've made pretty impressive progress just in this year. So I don't think it would surprise anyone if they had a, obviously, like, not a beta, but like a pre-alpha, or not, maybe pre-alpha, like an alpha in 2023.
And to that I say,
Maybe around
kid,
August.
I know you're salty about the pitiful state of Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, but come on, man. Stop projecting. You're embarrassing yourself, and if you were actually pleased with Ko's playthrough of Pantheon's recent showcase, then you gotta be kidding me, because you're high on copium.
You've gotta be kidding me.
I have not paid attention to Pantheon at all. I am not interested. I mean, time could change it, but I doubt it.
I don't know why it's so fucking funny. Oh my god, watch the Pantheon dungeon I showed 2 days ago. Yeah, maybe I'll have to look at it some other point. Here's the thing, right, is like, I watched, there is nothing that was promising to be about Pantheon at all. But
exactly.
The reality is that Ashes of Creation isn't really competing against Pantheon. Pantheon is competing against EverQuest and like these other old school MMOs.
Yeah. Ashes is more competing if I had to put something out there like BDO, what's another one? The one that's going to be coming out. I don't know if they're going to come out around the same time, but if they do, wow, I can't even think. Arcade 2.
Like, a lot of the people that are super hyped about Pantheon are not going to be playing Ashes of Creation, probably. It's a completely different type of game. It's like saying, fuck, I'm trying to remember, like...
It's like comparing
it's like
WoW
Escape
with
from
Ashes.
Tarkov is the same thing as Fortnite. Like, these are two completely different games with a completely different audience, even though they're both shooters. You see kind of what I mean? Isn't it? Yeah, I think they're very different games.
Yeah, or Albion versus
like
WoW.
OSRS versus WoW. Well, it's like, I don't know, like, I'm sure there's other MMOs that I could compare it to. Yeah, Boomer/Zoomer take. Exactly, yeah, Pantheon is a Boomer game. The people that play Pantheon are like 35. Like, there's nobody that goes and plays Pantheon that doesn't get yearly checkups on their prostate. Like, that's just how it is. It's a game for boomers. It's a game for old men. And it's not a problem. Like, it's fine, but that's what it is. The truth is, like, what Ashes of Creation really is competing with is something like New World. They're competing with World of Warcraft.
It depends on how they flesh out their systems. I don't think they're competing with WoW too much. I mean, to a degree, obviously, because it's an MMO. But I don't think like its main player base is really, that's like saying Arcade was competing with WoW. And to a degree, you're right in that they're both MMOs, but like the core gameplay they were really different.
Competing with Arcade 2 that's coming out.
Yes.
They're competing with Final Fantasy 14. I think actually less so Final Fantasy 14 because Final Fantasy has such a unique appeal. I think that really the competitors for Ashes of Creation are, like, I would say, like, Albion Online, probably the Riot MMO just because it'll be really big, World of Warcraft because, again, it's really, really big.
Yeah, in a general sense, he's right.
2.
Yeah. Yeah, like the ones that they're actually directly competing with are going to be, like I said, Albion, like some of the old school ones that are very player-driven, like OSRS, Arcade 2, but not really Final Fantasy, not really WoW, other than the general MMO player competing.
And what was the other one that I mentioned? New World. Yeah, I think those are the games that it's, and BDO, yeah, that's another one. Those are the games it's really competing against.
Yeah.
Not Final Fantasy, not Pantheon, not Tower of Fantasy, not some other fucking bullshit game. Why not Final Fantasy? Because Final Fantasy's appeal is so much different than what Ashes of Creation's appeal is. Like, of course, some people will go and play Ashes of Creation instead of Final Fantasy, but I don't think the overlap is going to be that big. So, like, for example,
Is he talking about like story-wise? Like Ashes of Creation is not going to have like an in-depth storyline.
Ashes of Creation is not a narratively driven game that has a long storyline that's voice acted, that's been developed for 10 years. It doesn't have...
It's not the weebs like this comment. It has nothing to do with weebs.
Graphed raids and a catalog of them that spans for the past 8 years. It just simply doesn't have those things. It doesn't have, bunny girls. Well, it might, actually.
Because Final Fantasy, let's be fair, it's not really a weeb game. Like, that's Genshin and, like, Tower Fantasy and the upcoming Blue Protocol.
Actually, I don't know if Ashes of Creation will have that or not. But, like, you can see how the appeal is way different. Let me link you guys the video again. And make sure to give it a sub, give it a like. We love the Narc videos. They're great. Ashes will be better than WoW, and give the...
I wonder if he's going to react to the one I reacted to earlier, where I just did not agree with a lot of Narc's opinions. That'd be interesting. I really would. I think when he releases it, I'll rewatch the video and see his reaction.
Faith in gaming again. Well, that is true. I think that the neckbeards, and this is what I've said before, is that the neckbeards are not gone. The people that devoted 14 hours a day to grinding in World of Warcraft, to farming in BDO, these people are not gone.
Yep.
They're just waiting. They're waiting for a game that is worthy to them to lose their life over, to waste their life over. They are hibernating. And it doesn't matter if it comes out today. It doesn't matter if it comes out next year, 5 years, 10 years. They can wait forever.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't matter what it's going to be. Should you wrong? No, because the thing is, it's being a neckbeard isn't an age. It's a state of mind. There's plenty of 14-year-olds that are going to be absolute fucking neckbeards whenever one of these games comes out. They're going to play it all the fucking time. Their identity is going to be this.
I mean, you had it with like Fortnite and Minecraft.
Game. They're going to fixate on it.
Like, you have a lot of them where they fixated, like, I'm pretty sure that's the word he was going to use, on Minecraft when they were younger. And now that they're older, they're like making YouTube videos. They're like creating whole worlds. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Constantly. But you can't make a game that sucks and then expect people to waste their life on it.
Yeah.
People are waiting and excited. People are looking forward to something like Sword Art Online because it's so transformative and so amazing that they can play it constantly and ruin their entire life in the pursuit of being better at it and feel like they're not wasting their time.
Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. Is like, you don't want to feel like you're wasting your time. Otherwise, you really aren't going to want to play anymore.
That's what it is. That's what people want. People, they don't want to have a super casual game. They do in a way. Of course they do. But there are also a lot of people that want something hardcore that they can really invest themselves into and for it to matter.
Yep.
That's what it is. The neckbeards aren't gone. They're just waiting. And you will never get them if your game is not S tier.
Yeah, a lot of them are playing, I'm assuming, classic WoW, just waiting.
They just won't play it.
In the dark.
Or they won't stick around. They'll leave.
In the bushes.
That's it. How do you define wasting time? Sure, feeling like you're wasting your time. So
yep, exactly. Even if you are technically wasting your time, as long as you don't feel like you're wasting your time, that's the crutch.
If you feel like you're wasting your time playing a game, you are. If you don't feel like you're wasting your time playing a game, you're not. It's that simple.
Yep. Because if you're not feeling it, then you're having fun.
Getting paid equals wasting time. No, I don't agree with that.
That's like saying sleeping is a waste of time. like saying eating your breakfast is a waste of time because you're not getting paid.
Like, for
That's
example,
ridiculous.
painting Warhammer figurines. A lot of people love painting Warhammer figurines. And the worst part about that is they have to pay $80 for probably each one of them. I don't know how much they are, but it's probably that much now. But they get something out of that. Having a hobby that you don't make money from is not a bad thing. That's not an issue. Nothing wrong with that. Become a real good painter, yeah. Getting paid, fuck off, yeah. A lot of people actually don't want to get paid. They don't want to make money with their hobby because they think that pollutes it. That makes it.
There are some people like that. I think that's weird.
Now this is a business endeavor that makes things more complex and complicated. Not everything. To a lot of older people and people that have stable jobs, that have good careers, their entire life is not all about money. They have the money situation for the most part taken care of. Yeah, it would be nice if they had a Lamborghini, but they don't need one. They're eating fine. Things are okay. And their values are in different places.
Yeah, definitely agree.
That's the way I see it. With
like, no one's going to say no to more money, but...
So I don't think that you're wasting your time. Like, yeah, if you feel like you're wasting your time playing a video game, you are. It's that simple. I
mean, even for that guy who said that, it's like, you're watching a stream. You're wasting your time.
I never thought about it that way, but I think that, yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about that before. I mean, to me, like, the two feelings you really cannot have in your game, I talked about one of them, but like, I kind of touched upon what he said, like the feeling of just feel like you're just wasting your time as a casual player. Like, those kind of games just do not last because the casual player will not stay because they feel like they're wasting their time. And that's why I was really disagreeing with Narc in his video. It's like, oh yeah, just let the casual players do their thing, but keep the hardcore stuff in there. It's like, you can't do that because it feels like they're wasting their time. Lost Ark is just prime example of that. Even though, like, say for like with Lost Ark, like, you feel like you're wasting your time when you're in a dungeon with people who don't know what they're doing, and they're just causing the group to wipe over and over. So you're just leaving that group, and what if you get the exact same thing over and over? Just feel like you're wasting your time, you're gonna quit. And that's also the same thing with the feeling of hopelessness. Like, you, in your capacity as a player, cannot change what is happening to you. When you get ganked over and over, you get spawn locked. Like, they're not letting you do anything. Where your only option is to log out. Like, you can't have that because most people, if it happens maybe once, maybe they'd be able to deal with it. But if it happens more than that, more than likely, they'll never play that game. They happened to a family member who was trying to get into League of Legends. We were playing custom games, and my brother, just who was a much better player, obviously, because one's a new player, the other was like hardcore into the game, would farm him. Like, would go out of his way to just make sure he died no matter what he did. And even though it was a game that I thought, you know, he'd be really into, he never touched again. Because he couldn't do anything. I didn't find out about it until later, and I'm like, almost knocked him out. I'm just like, dude, why would you do that? Like, that is just really a messed up thing to do. But no, I mean, that's someone who would do it to a family. It's like, there are people who just, you know, if they do it to family, you know, they're going to do it to other people, like, all the time. I don't know. It's, what was it? There was like a term for it, like, to the point that they actually had a term for it. Where like a really experienced player just makes a whole new account so they can just dominate like new players. Like, they do it all the time, and they do it in every single game. So that's why they have elos, and that's why if like you do too well, you're put in a higher elo, because it's like, it's not really fair to everyone who's in the lower one, because you're just stomping them. You're the only one having fun, basically. And Ashes of Creations really needs to watch that, because Ashes of Creations, and the big thing about it and why it's like a lot of people are hesitant on it, they're excited but they're tentative about their excitement, because if they get either of those wrong, where it feels like you're wasting your time or you feel hopeless in terms of what you can do, they're going to lose a massive amount of their player base, because that is the casual experience. And like I said, if you build your game not for the casual place, or at least having some things for them, like, it should be a majority for the casual, let's be fair. because they're going to be the majority of your player base. That's just how it is. Your game's going to end up like WildStar. Just plain and simple. Like if you're catering to the hardcore, you're going to get the hardcore, and you're not going to get the casual player base, who is the lifeblood of an MMO. So, but yeah, definitely a good video. I don't think we know enough about Ashes Creations to really say where it's going to be headed.